something came to mind that I wanted to talk about today. This seeming resistance to healing and what that is. And I wanted to share something that happened to me years ago. I was a lawyer in California for many years before I moved out here to Santa Fe. And I was on a lunch break with a friend, and I was walking into a Mimi's Cafe, and I walked into the entryway, and it was lunch hour, and there were a ton of people there putting their names on the waiting list. And I gave my name, and I figured, well, I'll just turn around and I'll wait outside for my friend who hadn't arrived yet. As I was heading toward the door, I noticed that a young woman was rocking her mother, who appeared to be unconscious, in her arms. And apparently a ambulance was being summoned. The manager looked really distraught that this was happening right in the middle of lunch hour. And I thought, I better step aside. So I was headed for the door, and I heard this, "You can heal this." And it came to me so strongly that oh God, I know that's not my thought. But I was obedient in that there was an empty seat right next to the door and on a bench, and I sat down. And there were people there staring and gawking at this woman and her daughter. And I closed my eyes, and I began to pray. I said, "God, what do you want me to do? I don't know what to do." And these thoughts started rushing to me. People are looking at you. Here you are sitting with your eyes closed. What if you don't know what to do? What are you doing? People are going to make fun of you. And I just thought at that moment, no, I'm going to be obedient. And I heard, "Go to her." Oh God. So I got up and I walked over to where the mother and her daughter were. And I knelt down and I looked at them, and I had no idea what to say. But I did say the first thing that popped into my head, which was, "You cannot be separated from the love of God." And hot on the heels of that sentence, this young girl was looking at me. Her mother was unconscious. The woman was crying. This thought came so strongly to me. It said, her fear is affecting her mother. I didn't know what that meant, but I just repeated it. I looked at the young woman and I said, "Your fear is affecting your mother." And the young woman went, "Ah!" And in that second, her mother's eyes fluttered open and she sat up. I don't know what was going on with the mother. I don't know what the condition was. I don't even know why I said that or what that meant to that young woman. But I do know that in that moment, I was willing to be obedient to God. The woman sat up. I turned around with authority that I have no idea where it came from and told the restaurant manager, "She's fine. You can cancel the ambulance." At that moment, people started to clear, and they called my table. My friend had been standing there, her mouth hanging open, and we went to our table and had a lovely lunch. This occurrence has taught me so much. It has stayed with me, obviously. It's like a cornerstone, something that you cannot forget. You can always come back to and rely upon it. And it shows the healing power of the Christ and of God when we are obedient to Him. But what was so amazing to me is that I realized that this opposition that says, "I don't know enough, I don't know what to say, what if I try and nothing happens?" Well, first of all, these are all presupposed on the basis that we are doing something of ourselves. Jesus, who walked on the water, calmed the storm, and raised the dead, even said, "I of my own self can do nothing." So the healing is not anything that we do of ourselves. It is simply us getting out of the way and letting the Christ, which resides within us, to move through us and do the healing works. If I had listened to that first uncomfortable, I better get out of here, this is embarrassing, there's lots of people, the woman wouldn't have been healed. But I pushed through that because I knew that it was God talking to me. And who am I to disobey when God says, I need you here? And that thought about, what if it doesn't work? Well, that never entered my mind. It was just me being obedient and my willingness to push past the embarrassment or the fearful thoughts. When I pushed past it and I was obedient, God delivered the exact words that healed the situation. Was it the word of God is sharper than any two-edged sword, cutting to the bone and marrow? I mean, He's going to supply you with exactly what you need in that moment. You may not understand it, but He gives us the ideas or the words to say that will heal the situation. And so, as we're working on our own healings, I want you to be alert to the ego that says you don't know enough or that you can't do it. You tell that voice where to go. You tell it to shut up. You aren't doing the work. God is doing the work. And what God needs from you is your willingness. He simply wants you to show up and say, yes, Father, thy will be done. Use me. Show me the truth. And He'll do the rest. But it's not just a state of wishful thinking. It's when they say faith without works is dead. First, we have faith that there's an all-loving, omniscient, all-powerful God that loves us and is with us and is our creator, our Father, Mother God who loves us. And then it's to take that step in faith. That's the works. To step past the fear that says, you don't know enough, you can't do this, what if people laugh, what if it doesn't work? You step beyond that, that's where God meets you. That's where the healing work is done. The resistance that we get, it feels like a wall sometimes, we feel like there's so many things out there against us or that's preventing us from knowing the truth. And it's just like a heavy mist, from a distance. It looks substantive, it looks impenetrable, it looks daunting. But as you approach it, you pass right through it. There's really nothing to prevent us from experiencing our oneness with God here and now. The opposition is just thoughts, and they're not even our thoughts. It's just a suggestion, a lie that says you're separated from your God. And we know that isn't true, because when we raise our consciousness and join into the truth that we are at one with Father, Mother, God, healings take place. Things are adjusted in our favor. Relationships are harmonized. That's where the healing work happens. So we know the truth, and we take that step beyond the fear. We push past that seeming resistance. And just on the other side of that resistance, that's where the healing truth is. That's the sunshine. That's the light that drives out the darkness. It works. It's true. It's who you are. Anyway, I'm going to start putting these together, and I hope that they will provide some kind of comfort or direction. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I just feel so impelled to express the love that I feel and to let you know that healing is possible and it's inevitable. We're all waking up together and we're discovering our birthright, and it's an exciting time. And there's nothing more that I want to do than help you remember who you are. Okay. I love you. Till next time.